Okay, gang, I'm going to show you the tightness test for these screens. You're going to say, well, how do I know that my screen is as tight as the one you're going to make? Well, you got to get your yardstick and hold it up here so it shows about 20 inches, and then you hold your coin right at about the same height. See, and it's got to come up to about 18 here. Then you know you got it tight enough. I don't have to come and check it for you. Another difference between these fancy dancy frames that you get from the silk screen store is that they have a cord here on the side, a cord hole. It's a sort of a slot, and when you staple the silk on here like this, what you do is you take a hinge or something and beat a cord in there, and that makes it tight. But see, that's all a lot of trouble, and you don't have to do that with Big Daddy's way of just putting it on there with a silk screen with the staple gun, because this is a finished screen. That screen right there would cost you probably $1.50, and for a screen like that at a commercial shop, they'll charge you $50 or $30 for with this silk on it without the design on it. Okay, gang, this is the way you clean the screens, clean that sizing out of the silk itself so that the emulsion will stick good to it. Now, they have different trade names for some different cleaners that are on the market. I just use either Comet or Ajax or a generic can that's like that, because the professional cleaners will go for like $3 for a deal like this, and you're not really getting anything more than just a remover of the oils and stuff that are on that screen. Now I'll go outside and let that dry. In the meantime, I'll talk to you about some artwork. Peekaboo from Big Daddy. I just want to mention this style of putting the emulsion onto the silk screen. There's 3 different ways. The first one is what they call a lacquer cut film. The trade name of this stuff here is amberlith or ruby lith, and you can get it at any art store because it's sunproof. And what people do is they cut little designs out of here. You probably see them at the art shows, and then they use them for different photographic processes. But the other thing you can do with this is you can cut a design out of here and hold your silk screen over it from the bottom side. And you just hold that on there, and you take a little bit of lacquer thinner, and that film will stick to the screen, and then you can just peel that clear piece away. This amberlith is glued to a piece of clear. You just tear that clear away when it's dried, and you have yourself a film. But the problem with that is you got to hand cut every little detail in there, and then if you get too much lacquer thinner on it, it'll make this stuff run, and you can end up with a pretty big mess on your hand, because it takes a lot of experience to put that lacquer thinner on there. We're going to talk about the other 2 processes, the diazo and the bichromate system. Okay, gang, we're going to talk about the 2 processes of photo emulsion that you're going to be worried about getting that design on the screen. First one is the diazo method. Now, both of the systems have this basic runny, milky stuff that looks like latex paint. It's about the same consistency as house paint. And by themselves, they won't do anything. You got to add a catalyst to it. The catalyst usually comes in the form of a powder that you have to mix with water. All of these have to be stored in a dry, cool place. You can't let them get too hot, can't let them get too cold. I usually keep mine in the ice box, turn the ice box all the way down. Now these are in either the bichromate or this diazo method. The advantage of this diazo is that you can burn the screen in any time a week after you coat the screen. And the bichromate one, you've got to burn it in right when that screen dries. None of these emulsions are simple. They look and feel, and to a lot of people are the same. But they each have a serial number down here. This happens to be a number 2.50. And that's the style of emulsion that it is. Now when I went to the store to buy this emulsion, I told the guy that I was going to use plastisol, and that this emulsion, when it dried, had to be resistant to plastisol. I'm not worried about the emulsion washing out with water. So if I use a water-based ink, I'm going to be stuck with this emulsion. So I told the guy I'm going to use plastisol, and he gave me this number 2.50. And like I say, by itself, it's not going to do anything. So we're going to mix up a little. I'm going to put a little water into this powder here because it's just nothing but a powder right now. Usually the directions will be that you got to put so many cc's of this into so much powder of this and so many teaspoons of this. But my thing over the years has been, you judge by the color of the liquid. The bichromates are blue, and when they turn green, you got the right consistency. And these diazos are white, and when you put enough in it, it's a real nice yellow color. So I'm going to add that in there, and from then on, I won't be able to keep that in the sun anymore. These stirring sticks, wherever you set them down, they get the glue down wherever they're at. They'll rip up stained furniture, the flooring on your floor, the linoleum. They'll rip up the covering on these sinks if you're not careful. If they dry, you'll never get it off of there. So be careful that while it's still wet, you make sure that you take a damp or wet rag and clean that all off. That's a pretty yellow color now. Now I know it's ready to put on to the silk. That's better than dipping in there for French toast. I always get hungry when I make this emulsion up because this emulsion reminds me of the dip that French toast into. Now I usually have to go and have some French toast made when I do this, but